Last night, she turned me down again. No argument. No tension. Just a cool, flat "not tonight" and the soft sound of the bedroom light switching off. She rolled away, back to me, lying there motionless under the covers like she'd been every night lately. It's been 3 weeks now, 3 full weeks without a single touch that felt real. Before all this, we'd kiss each other good morning, share wine and laughter, even bicker about silly things like which color to paint the guest bedroom. Normal married stuff. Comfortable stuff. Then suddenly, like someone flipped a hidden switch, everything shifted. She turned cold. Distant. Like winter wrapped in silk pajamas. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she was stressed from work or going through some hormonal shift. Maybe it had something to do with her content schedule. She's a lifestyle blogger, always online, always having to present that effortless, glowing version of herself. I didn't push. I figured she just needed space. But space has a limit. That morning, I was in the laundry room, half awake, sorting through a load she'd started the night before. It was just part of the routine. I reached in, pulled out a handful of damp clothes, and then I stopped. My fingers caught something small and delicate. Lacy. Red. Expensive looking. And definitely not hers. I know my wife's wardrobe like the back of my hand. I've bought more than half of it. She prefers soft tones, sky blue, ivory, pale peach. She leans toward dainty patterns and lightweight fabrics. But this was loud. Bright red lace with black details, and a little satin tag that screamed "not mine." I just stood there, holding it, staring like it was some alien thing. Then I saw it, lipstick. A faint smear right along the waistband. Not her shade. She never wears bold colors. Says they're too flashy. And then there was the scent, faint but unfamiliar. Not mine. Not hers. His. My chest tightened, but it wasn't anger. Anger hits you like a slap. This was colder. Heavier. Like standing on a frozen lake and hearing the first subtle crack under your feet. I didn't confront her. I didn't even move for a full minute. Then I folded the underwear neatly, too neatly, slid it into a Ziploc bag, and tucked it deep in my desk drawer, all the way at the back behind old paperwork and forgotten warranties. I finished the rest of the laundry. Folded her sweaters, hung her blouses, sprayed her favorite linen mist on the clean sheets. I played my part. Because here's the thing, I wanted to see what happened next. That evening, she came home late. Said she'd been at a new cafe with her friend Rachel. She smelled like roses and mint, definitely not her usual scent. She smiled at me, but it felt forced, like a stranger pretending to be familiar. Then she kissed me on the cheek and disappeared into the bathroom. 15 minutes later, she was in bed again, turned away like always. I lay beside her, staring at the ceiling. She refused me again. But this time, I wasn't heartbroken. I wasn't lost. I was observant. I was done pretending. The next morning, the whole house had this calculated silence. Not peaceful, intentional. Like someone hiding something. I sat at the kitchen island, stirring a cup of black coffee that had gone cold, watching the oven clock tick past 7:42 a.m. Upstairs, I could hear her getting ready. Shower running, hair dryer humming, closet doors opening, heels brushing the carpet. She was humming too, a tune I didn't recognize. It sounded light, even cheerful. She came downstairs 15 minutes later, eyes locked to her phone. Her fingers moved fast, tapping away, mouth curving slightly at the edges. "Big day?" I asked, casual, not even looking up. She flinched a little, like I'd caught her off guard. "Oh hey. Yeah, sort of," she said, her voice light, too chipper. She headed to the fridge and pulled out a kind of yogurt she'd never bought before, peeling the lid like it required all her attention. "What's on the schedule?" I asked. "Oh, just errands. Meeting up with Rachel later. She wants to show me some new nail salon." Rachel again. Always Rachel lately. I nodded, sipping my coffee. "You seem like you're in a good mood today." She blinked. "Do I?" "Yeah." I smiled slightly. "You're glowing." For a split second, something cracked in her expression. A flicker of something real, maybe. But then it was gone. She gave this breathy little laugh and looked back down at her screen. "Guess I slept well," she said. I didn't say anything. Just let the silence sit. She was dressed nicer than usual, casual but deliberate. Every piece of clothing looked hand-picked to say, I just threw this on without actually being careless. Soft cardigan sliding off one shoulder, jeans hugging in all the right spots, and that perfume again. Not her usual light floral one, this was bolder. Muskier. Grown. You driving yourself? I asked. She looked up, slower this time. What? To Rachel's? Yeah. Taking your car? She paused. Yeah, why? No reason, I said, shaking my head. She watched me a beat longer, then gave me one of those half-smiles, the kind that stops before it reaches the eyes. Then she walked over, gave me a quick kiss on the cheek, and left. The door clicked shut. The lock turned. And for the first time, the silence that followed felt honest. I climbed the stairs after she left, coffee still untouched on the kitchen counter. In our bedroom, I went straight to my desk, opened the bottom drawer, and pulled out that Ziploc bag. The red lace was still inside, folded perfectly, like a secret I wasn't supposed to know. I held it in my hand again, studying it like it might speak. I didn't feel angry anymore. That stage had come and gone. What I felt now was colder, sharper. Not heartbreak. Not grief. Just clarity. A quiet kind of certainty. I tucked the bag back into its hiding spot, closed the drawer, and sat down on the edge of the bed, right where she'd been laying earlier, her back turned to me like always. I looked at the empty space beside me and whispered, not to her, but to the silence, all right. The days that followed blurred into a routine so polished it almost felt rehearsed. A week passed. Each morning she woke up early, got dressed, smiled, and disappeared. I played the role of the loving husband. Good morning. Coffee. Small talk. Distant, polite warmth. But beneath it all, I was watching. What she didn't know was that I had taken that Friday off. She thought I left for work like usual. I even grabbed my briefcase, packed my thermos, kissed her goodbye. But I didn't drive to the office. I only went 2 blocks, parked around the corner, and waited. There wasn't even a heartbeat of panic. No rush of nerves. Just pure focus. That kind of tunnel vision calm where the world feels like it's standing still. At exactly 10:14 a.m., the garage door opened. She stepped out. No Rachel, no errands. Just her. She was wearing the same carefully curated outfit I'd seen before. Hair done in loose curls, lips glossed, phone in hand. She glanced up and down the street, didn't spot me, and got into her car. I gave her a full minute before following. 2, maybe 3 car lengths behind. She wasn't speeding, but she drove with purpose. Like she had somewhere to be, and she needed to be there exactly on time. I expected her to stop somewhere normal, a strip mall, a cafe in Midtown, someplace public. But instead, she drove the other way, south, toward the river. 15 minutes later, she turned into a small parking lot outside a boutique hotel. I'd seen it before but never been inside. The kind of place with sleek glass doors and no visible branding. Meant for travelers, executives, or people who need privacy for all the wrong reasons. She parked, stayed in the car a moment. Then he showed up. I recognized him instantly. Broad shoulders, tight black t-shirt, the athletic swagger of someone who spends too much time in front of mirrors. I'd seen his face before. Once on her social media. Dylan. Her trainer. They'd done a fitness collab months back. The caption had said something like work hard, play harder. I didn't know they were taking that part so literally. She stepped out of her car and smiled at him in a way I hadn't seen in months. Effortless. Familiar. Like this wasn't new. Like it was just another Friday. Then she walked right into his arms, no hesitation, no fear. Just comfort. Like they'd done it over and over again. They disappeared through the side door of the hotel. I didn't follow them in. I didn't need to. Back at home, I shut myself in the office. The light filtering in from the window sliced across my desk in narrow golden lines, catching dust in the air like drifting snow. I powered up my laptop. We shared a cloud account, photo backups, calendar syncing, shared reminders. The kind of thing I once thought would keep us close. Now it just brought me closer to the truth. There was a folder. Not hidden, just disguised. labeled JJ Project. Inside, screenshots, photos, voice memos. My hand hovered on the trackpad, ice cold. One photo showed her in the mirror of that same hotel room. She was in laundry, striking a familiar pose. A fake smile for a private moment. There was a voice note from Dylan, low and smug, whispering her name the way a man does when he thinks he owns something. And then, there were the texts. You looked unreal today. I couldn't keep my hands off you. He still doesn't know, right? I barely notice him anymore. You deserve better. You deserve real fire. My mouth was dry. But it wasn't from pain. That had evaporated long ago, or maybe it had just sunk too deep to find. This wasn't heartbreak. This was a forensic study in betrayal. A performance. A beautifully crafted act designed to keep me blind. But I wasn't blind anymore. I saw the strings. I saw the web she'd spun. And she had no idea I was already pulling it apart. The next morning it rained. Not hard, just a soft, cold drizzle that painted the windows in streaks and turned the backyard into a blurry watercolor. Everything looked softer, like the world was trying to help me forget. But I didn't want soft. I wanted truth. Emily was in the kitchen, humming something faint. Probably some song from Instagram, a looped melody with no real lyrics. She stood barefoot in her robe, swirling oat milk into her coffee like she didn't have a lie woven into every move she made. I stood in the doorway and watched her. She looked innocent. That was the strangest part. Her hair was still damp from the shower. No makeup. No lighting tricks. Just her. The version I used to wake up next to on lazy Sundays, her body curled into mine, whispering dreams into the space between us. But that version... She wasn't real anymore. She looked up and caught me staring. You're quiet today, she said softly. Just tired, I replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. I walked past her to the hallway closet, pulling open the door slowly. Buried behind an old winter scarf and a busted umbrella was a thin black case, one I hadn't touched in years. My old photography gear. A Canon DSLR, dusty but still reliable. It felt like time to dust off some forgotten skills. By noon, she was out again. Said she had another content shoot. More work. More Rachel. I watched her car pull out of the driveway, but this time I didn't follow. I didn't need to. I already had more than enough. What I needed now was everything else. I sat at my desk and began searching. Dylan West. Personal trainer. Entrepreneur. Self-branded guru of mind-body optimization. It didn't take much digging. His website was exactly what I expected, overpolished, full of stocky gym photos and hollow motivational quotes about unlocking greatness through discipline and sweat. He had a bio that sounded like it was drafted by a marketing intern on too much caffeine. Something about helping high-value individuals achieve holistic alignment. Underneath the fluff, I found what I was actually looking for: gym address, public calendar, client schedule, and all his social links. I clicked through his socials slowly. There he was, smiling in every video, flexing in every mirror. Shirtless way more often than not. His arm casually wrapped around a new influencer every month. The kind of guy who spoke in buzzwords and hashtags. Then I saw it. Emily. She wasn't tagged, but I recognized her immediately. It was a group photo from some event back in September. She had her hand on Dylan's shoulder, leaning in close, wearing that soft private smile I hadn't seen in ages. The one that said, "I feel seen." The caption, "Energy doesn't lie. Some people just match your frequency." And there it was. That's what this was for her. A frequency. A high. A new flame to chase in a life that had gotten too predictable. To her, I had become stable, safe, maybe even dull. That night, I met up with her friend Ashley. I asked her to coffee, told her I needed help planning an anniversary surprise. Ashley had always been the type to talk too much, too fast, without thinking. Perfect. We met at a local cafe, the kind Emily loved. Cozy, curated lighting, overpriced lattes. I played the part with care. "You're seriously doing something big for the anniversary?" Ashley asked, smiling over the rim of her mug. That's adorable. She always says you're the steady one. I nodded. Yeah, grounded. Predictable. She stirred her coffee, then added, Mel really needs that. She always has. She's been kind of distant lately, I said, letting my voice trail off. Think she's getting bored? Ashley hesitated. Her expression shifted just slightly, just enough. I don't think it's serious, she said, fidgeting with her spoon. You know she gets restless. She likes attention. Especially from guys like Dylan. There it was. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. She looked away then, probably realizing she'd said too much. I just smiled and sipped my drink. That night, I couldn't sleep. The rain had stopped, but the quiet it left behind was almost worse. She was asleep beside me, breathing slow and steady, facing the wall again like she always did. I stared at the ceiling, hands folded across my chest. She thought I was still the same man she married. The one who would look the other way. The one who would swallow his pride for the sake of a picture-perfect life. But that man didn't live here anymore. And in that dark room, I smiled, not out of happiness, but because I finally knew what had to be done. I spent that entire night crafting the perfect lie. A new email address, made from scratch. A fake identity, styled just like something Emily would trust. I called the persona Emma, a supposed talent recruiter for an upscale fitness brand expanding from Miami to Atlanta. The website, mocked up to look clean and corporate, filled with vague but impressive-sounding language, a list of phony team members, and a slick "Contact Us" form that went nowhere. The message I sent to Dylan was short and professional, but packed with the kind of praise that feeds a man's ego. Subject: Exclusive Partnership Opportunity, Apex Core Atlanta. Dear Mr. West, we've been following your content for the past 6 months and are truly impressed by your presence in the wellness and transformation space. Apex Core, a luxury fitness brand launching its Southeast division, is currently selecting 3 exclusive regional ambassadors in Atlanta. Your profile aligns strongly with our brand's image, and we'd love to set up a confidential Zoom meeting with our team lead. Please let us know your availability this week. Warm regards, Emma, Talent Partnerships, Apex Core. I read it over twice. It struck the perfect balance, enthusiastic but not desperate, polished but personal. Exactly the kind of bait someone like Dylan would bite on. I hit send. And waited. He replied within an hour. Hey Emma. This sounds amazing, really appreciate the outreach. Totally interested. I've got openings Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. Let me know what works. I sat back in my chair and stared at the screen. The enthusiasm dripped through the text like syrup, thick, sweet, and completely oblivious. He didn't even pause to question why a brand with 0 followers and a vague pitch had randomly reached out. Classic. I scheduled him for Thursday at 2 p.m. I booked a co-working space downtown. One of those clean, modern setups with frosted glass, minimalist decor, and nothing personal in sight. I borrowed a colleague's login and used a voice changer, just enough to flatten and sharpen my voice so he wouldn't recognize it. My camera stayed off. I told him it was a one-sided view due to recording policy. He didn't mind. Of course he didn't. Dylan popped on screen wearing a sleeveless hoodie, hair styled like he was headed to a shoot. Every time he shifted in his chair, his jaw clenched, like he was flexing just in case someone was watching. He looked exactly how I expected, confident, composed, full of himself. He had no idea who he was really talking to. Thanks for making time, I said through the modulated mic. We've reviewed your material and believe you might be a good fit for our Atlanta campaign. That said, we do a thorough review of all our public-facing partners. Image matters a lot to our clients. He nodded, all smiles. Yeah, totally. I've worked with brands before, I get the process. Good, I replied, pausing just long enough to let the moment stretch. We look into social media, media coverage, public affiliations, even personal conduct. Our clients are high net worth and very sensitive to optics. I watched him closely. His face didn't fall, but something in his eyes shifted. A flicker of doubt. A crack in the mirror. He chuckled. Sure. No scandals here. I didn't respond. I just leaned forward and clicked a file on my screen. A slideshow began. Photo after photo. Each one carefully chosen. The hotel parking lot. Dylan stepping out of his truck. Emily arriving in her car. Then, hallway security footage. Grainy, but clear. 2 silhouettes too close for just friends. And finally, the mirror photo. Her on the bed. His phone in her hand. He froze. His lips parted like he wanted to say something but couldn't form the words. "What is this?" he finally whispered. "No need to respond," I said, voice calm. "This meeting is over. You won't hear from Apex Corps again." "Wait, what? Who are you?" I ended the call. Shut the laptop. Sat there in silence. That evening, Emily came home humming again. Her face was flushed, her eyes lit up, and she kissed me on the temple as she walked past, still glued to her phone, wearing that same perfume she thought I hadn't noticed. I didn't ask how the shoot went. I didn't mention Dylan. I didn't comment on the way she looked or the new glow in her cheeks. I just set the table for two. Like nothing had happened. But something had. The sword was drawn. And I wasn't planning on putting it away. Saturday rolled in wrapped in golden sunlight. A breeze drifted through the trees, scattering crisp autumn leaves along the stone path to our front door. If someone had driven past our house, they would have seen nothing strange. Just a beautiful couple in a lovely home, preparing for a cozy evening. But I had staged every moment. Candles on the table. Linen napkins. Her favorite Chardonnay chilling in a silver bucket. A jazz playlist drifting through the speakers, the one she always picked when company was over and appearances mattered. I had invited 6 guests. Her sister and brother-in-law. A couple from my side. Her friend Ashley, of course. And our neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, the sweet older widow who always said, "You two remind me of me and my husband, back in the day." Everyone arrived around 7. With wine. With smiles. With laughter. And Emily. She played the role like she'd rehearsed it for years. Floating from guest to guest. Pouring wine. Touching my arm when she passed. Her smile was dazzling. Her eyes sparkled. No one could have guessed she was dancing across glass, and I had already started tapping. Emily was radiant that night. She glided through conversations with that polished grace she wore like perfume. Laughing just loud enough. Touching my shoulder like we were still that perfect couple. If you didn't know any better, you'd think she was the happiest woman in the room. But I knew better. Because she was dancing over glass, and I had already started tapping. After the second course, salmon over lemon risotto, I stood from the table. Everyone was still smiling, glasses half full. Emily looked up, surprised but still playing her part. "I'd like to say a few words," I said. "Come." Casual. The room grew quiet. Forks paused midair. Emily tilted her head slightly, still smiling, but now unsure. "I've been thinking a lot lately," I started, not looking at her, but at everyone else. "About trust. About the stories we tell ourselves and each other so we can feel safe, feel loved." Ashley chuckled softly, probably thinking I was about to launch into something sappy. Emily's fingers curled a little tighter around her fork. "I wanted tonight to be special," I continued, stepping away from the table and toward the wall-mounted projector remote. "Because sometimes, when the picture looks too perfect for too long, you stop noticing the cracks." I clicked the remote. The projector screen lowered with a soft, deliberate hum. Emily shifted in her seat. Then the first photo appeared. Dylan, in the hotel parking lot. Emily, stepping out of her car, walking straight into his arms. There was a collective gasp. A fork hit a plate. Someone whispered, "Oh my God!" Then came the hallway footage. Blurry but clear enough. 2 bodies pressed close near a room marked 307. Then, the mirror photo. Her in bed. His phone in her hand. I didn't say a word. I let the images say everything. Next came a screen recording. Texts. Voice notes. Her words, her voice. "He's just dull lately. All work. No spark. I wish you were here. Waking up next to him feels like sharing a bed with a ghost." Emily shot up from her chair so fast it screeched back against the floor. "Turn it off," she hissed, her voice barely containing panic. I didn't move. "This is private. This isn't what it looks like." Her sister stared at her, stunned. Ashley covered her mouth. Mrs. Thompson looked like she might cry. "Please," Emily begged now, her voice trembling. "This is between us. He's twisting things." I finally turned to her. Good. The house didn't greet me with warmth. It met me with memory. Every corner knew us. Every room still held the outline of what we used to be. But it was quiet now. Too quiet. And I liked it that way. I stepped into the foyer. The scent of her perfume still lingered faintly on the air, soft, floral, like it hadn't realized she wasn't welcome anymore. In the living room, the mail had piled up. A few envelopes were torn open. A half-empty coffee mug sat on the table. A throw pillow was crooked. She had been here after I left. She had waited. Then she gave up. I walked upstairs. Every step felt like closing a chapter. In our bedroom, the bed was made too tightly. Hospital corners. Like she was trying to erase any sign of warmth or life. On the dresser, there was a small box. No note. No bow. I didn't have to open it. I knew what was inside. Her rings. The symbol of a promise already broken. Returned like a library book. I didn't touch it. I went to the office. Closed the door. Opened the drawer. The black notebook still lay there, pages stuffed with dates, screenshots, names, and times. A full autopsy of betrayal. I flipped through it slowly, not with rage, but with detachment. Like reading the obituary of someone you once loved, but no longer mourned. Every line, every note, every piece of evidence had served its purpose. I had needed proof. I had needed to see it all. But now it was just paper. I took the notebook to the fireplace. Opened the glass door. The kindling inside was dry, waiting. I struck a match. The pages caught fast, first a flicker, then a flame, curling through ink and memory. The lies turned black. Then gray. Then nothing but ash. The smoke rose slowly, softly, carrying with it the final breath of a life I no longer wanted. When it was done, I shut the glass door and walked out. Downstairs, my phone buzzed on the counter. One new message. Her name. But no words. Just a blank text. As if she didn't know what to say anymore. As if she finally understood that no combination of words could change anything. I turned off the screen without reading it. Let her scream into silence all she wanted. I had already said everything I needed, not with my voice, but with my absence. Later that evening, I stood at the back window, watching the yard. The trees swayed gently. The grass glowed gold in the last touch of sunlight. And for a moment, the world looked normal again. But I wasn't the man who used to stand in that spot. That man believed in forever. This one. He knows forever is just a story we tell ourselves so we can sleep at night. And now that I've finally woken up, I'm not going back to dreams. Thank you for visited my YouTube channel. Your support, likes, and comments truly inspire me to create even more engaging content. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. You're a part of this amazing community, and I'm thrilled to share my stories with you. See you in the next video on YouTube.